BowTie Barbecue Company at 6724 Waters Avenue in Savannah serves up barbecue both familiar and new, made by hand and made with love. Family friendly and relaxed, BowTie takes great pride in the by hand preparation of high quality beef ribs, smoked chicken, pork spare ribs, and more. Come join the BowTie family. Ask about our food truck and catering too. BowTie Barbecue Company, Southern charm naturally. Look for them online at BowTieBarbecueCO.com.
Live from BowTie Barbecue, this is the Danny Britt Show. Christian Gokel alongside the head football coach of your cadets, Danny Britt. And Coach, back for our second Danny Britt Show of the year already. I mean, we're trying to get rolling into the season a little bit. And we've got some live action coming up at the end of this week.
Thank God. I know the guys are really tired of practicing against each other and just running drills against each other. They're ready to get out there and see what they can do.
And I've heard some coaches talking a lot about just this time of year, and I listened to Mike Bobo talk about it, a few other coaches. This is really the time of the year where you get better, right? Once you get into the season, you're in a rhythm and you kind of have to start getting ready for opponents. This is the time of year where you're just getting better as a team and developing those skill sets you're going to utilize all year.
Certainly we hope so, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's definitely how we've approached this week. I don't have a scouting report or anything because we're not doing that. I talked to Camden's head coach. They're not doing that. We're still trying to develop who we are and be the best we can be. Obviously, yeah, it's fun to go compete against somebody else, but, yeah, we are trying to get better right now.
And I know, again, Camden coming up, a lot of people excited about that. We're going to talk about that scrimmage there, but just looking at your team as a whole, when it comes to kind of going with that iron sharpens iron and developing those guys right now, what are some of the areas that you, just as the head man, have really been emphasizing?
I think it's across the board. We've emphasized being the best teammate you can be and how that affects in every situation. In other words, be great, be where your feet are and be the best you can be during that. And if you're a defensive lineman, what does that mean? That means sometimes you're taking on blocks so that the linebackers can make plays. If you're an offensive lineman, that means, making your block and driving them through. You don't have to do extra stuff. A receiver, sometimes you're a decoy. You run that route, be the best teammate you can be. And the fruit will come back to you, exponentially.
And I know you guys do self-scouts at the end of the year and just kind of identify potential areas of weakness or where you could just improve on some things. What are some of those things that you guys identified that you've been working on these last few weeks? Yeah,
there's a lot of things that we actually identified. I like I said before, I met with each coach. Actually, we finished a little earlier than we like to this year, so we met in December. And all I did was listen and take notes. We met again in January. We worked some things out and a number of things. One, special teams. And I was in charge of special teams last year. And we determined that we can do more with that. Not that we weren't pretty good on special teams. We can do more. And at the level we're playing now, teams do more. When we were in AA, just being a functional, good special teams, we were beating people in that.
Right.
Now, everybody has special teams coordinators. They pour a lot into it. They have players that can do that, primarily special teams work, who are really good players. So we have to pour more energy into it. How did we do that? We hired Pat Fogarty as offensive line coach. Trevor Coleman's running the special teams, and we just are pouring a lot into it. So that was one area. I was also coaching the secondary, and you can't do all that, then have a program like Benedictine running it the way we want to run it. We were fortunate enough to be able to hire Philip Moore back, and he is back and running the secondary. Of course, I'm still very involved in both of those, but those were things we really focused in on. Physical play and consistent physical play, and as much from the offense as it is from everything else. You really focus in on defense, but the offense and offensive line play. So we've really, really poured into having them be very physical and block, not just blocking people, but moving people.
Well, let's go ahead, Coach. We're going to dive into depth chart a little bit, maybe not looking at the too deep, but just looking at the guys who are going to be contributing once we get to the regular season. And you talked about special teams. Let's start there. You said you went over to Charlie Moore and said, hey, I need some guys that can boot it. You guys have been blessed the last few years with really, really talented punters and kickers, some guys that can do both. What's it look like this year as you're having to replace another great one?
Yeah, I was super, super worried about that. And actually, Coach DePhillips led that charge and getting a couple of soccer guys
What's
out.
it like football going into football
Yeah.
and asking for some help?
Yeah, no, it's normal. I think a lot of people do it. It's common. Hey, we don't have a kicker in the line now, which we've had for a very long time in the pipeline. So we got two guys, John Brenton and Parker Lewis, came out and weren't sure. They worked during soccer season and would be, after their soccer practices and doing everything they're supposed to do with that, they would be out there, punting and kicking. And Coach Parker worked with them in the spring, and we're very happy with where they are. They're strong. They're good looking athletes too. I started to grab both of them the other day and put them on the kick return team.
I was gonna say, I don't think you could have picked any of there's not a bigger soccer player on either one of those teams. Those are some thick dudes.
I mean, they are good looking. They're good looking, big old thick thighs. They're strong. But they have done a good job. We're still not sure exactly who's going to do what, and tomorrow is going to be important to give them opportunities and find out who's best at punting, who's best at kicking. Consistency and also kicking off. All of those things, and they've worked really hard and been proud of what they've done.
And two starters for the soccer team that made a deep run in the playoffs last year, so both probably cool under pressure right there. I'll say this: if you need somebody, you need that like extra fullback or an extra nose tackle. John Brenton, I think he can get in there and do it if you need it.
He's strong, man, and he likes the weight room. He's what you can tell.
Oh yeah. And just kind of moving over from there, I'm not going to say which high school head coach, but I've only seen a head coach cry at a postseason banquet once, and is when he was talking about the dedication of the long snapper and a guy who kind of remade himself and wasn't going to play on either side of the ball and really focus on a skill and earn himself a scholarship. Huge position because you can't operate field goals and punts without it. Who's the long snapper going to be this year?
Yeah, we have a couple of guys who are vying for it. Max Heimer is one of them, and he had snapped before, didn't really do it. We needed somebody with a freshman, and I said, hey, you really we're going to need this. We need to know this is coming. And, so he went to some camps and got way better at it and is doing a good job. And then, of course, Turner Walker is in a long line of family snappers. His brothers have been snappers. Right now, he's the one. And then Max Hammer has stepped up and really become a good option too.
And I know we've talked about this before, but that's one of those positions for any future cadets who are out there kind of listening. There's not a whole lot of spots at the next level for like 5'9", 5'10" guys who weigh like 205. But if you can get really good at snapping and really good at tackling, there can be a position for you at the next level. Definitely,
without a doubt. It's a funny story. I told the guys yesterday we have a freshman in Will Dixon, and I hadn't mentioned it, trying not to embarrass him, but he's going to be a good football player for us in the future in baseball. And I told him I played with his dad, who was a long snapper at Georgia Southern years ago, and probably same thing. He's probably my height, 5'10", 5'11", and he was probably 215, 220, but was a really good long snapper, and played for a long time.
And Coach, just moving on from that, we can talk about the skill positions all day, and we really covered that a lot last week, but really talented group there. Kevin and I were talking about this on the preview show a little bit. Seems like every year there's that one guy where Bubba Frazier's deep, Josh Washington's deep. They've got that covered up. They've got Stanley Smart covered out of the back, and then all of a sudden you forget about Jack Gannum out of the back. Or you have a Cam Edge who just kind of slips up the seam, up the middle, and he's that kind of knife in the heart for a defense. I think I kind of have a few guesses of who it might end up being this year, but that's the cool thing about them is they kind of slide out. Can you give us a couple of names that might fill that void?
Yeah, and it's funny. We were talking about this yesterday is we're in a phase when we go this week, we've decided to go Team O, and we're going all available, just letting the, Galen and AJ have their, their guys and make sure they can use everybody that they want to. So the defensive coaches were basically sitting and watching the offense work, and, Coach Orsini said, I would really hate to have to go against us in a game, for 4 quarters. For that reason, Aaron Mallard is the first guy, and dude can fly. He ended up being the second fastest on our team of state 4x1 and state 4x2 champion. He ended up being right behind Bubba, even ahead of Stan. there, and is very great ball skills, runs really hard. So as you're focused in on the Division I guys, you're going to have to realize that, this guy Aaron Merrill is there too. And of course, Josh Washington would be another one, although I don't think people are going to know who he is. He's made a lot of plays.
I think he's scored enough touchdowns that
Right.
people are circling number 7 on there. But you talk about Aaron Mallard, and no offense to Cam Edge and to Ganem last year, but not the same kind of speed as what Mallard can put in there.
Different long-term speed. Now, both Cam for sure was extremely quick.
Right.
10-yard burst was unbelievable, but not over the course of 100 yards.
Right.
And Aaron has a different level, and he's 6 foot, and, those legs stretch out. Jack was not quite as quick, but was, very quick and explosive in a box. But, Aaron, just high-end speed is different.
I'll say for both of those guys, very high football IQ, where they knew where they were supposed to be, and they didn't just run a route. They would kind of read the defense and sit in a spot and give their quarterback an option right there. I think that's something that comes with a lot of snaps, and maybe a benefit of Mallard getting a bunch of snaps last year offensively.
It definitely will, and I think he got a lot of snaps. It just never he never started and never kind of was the star. Although if you look back at the Buford game, you remember we lost Bubba in the second half, which drives me crazy. But he came in and was kind of the star of the show in the second half against Buford. So he's played a lot, and I think he will improve on what you're explaining, having a feel of the game.
And after Bubba went out, electrolytes became a mainstay in the
Oh, my gosh. I got, I think, 50 cases of BioLite sitting in there. Right?
Got to keep it going, especially in this heat. Again, looking at the guys who are going to make plays, you got to have some depth at running back. I know Stanley Smart's the guy, RB1. He's going to kind of be that bell cow. But talk to us a little bit about the guys who are going to take some snaps behind him.
Yeah, C.J. Menzie has been working at that. Now, he rolled his ankle last week and is having trouble getting back. So, unfortunately, I don't know what he's going to be able to do tomorrow. Chris Stokes is a name you probably haven't heard. He played JV for us last year as a freshman and on the freshman team, of course, and really good and athletic. He's had a good all season. He's going to be a guy that steps up and is able to do some things. And then, of course, all of those guys can step in at running back too. Bubba, Josh, Aaron, each one of those guys. Cole Henderson can step in there and be the primary running back as well.
Couple more questions on the offensive side of the ball. If you had to go left or right now on the offensive line, who would be the 5 rolling out there?
Right now, it would be Noah Brainerd and Colin Ward at the tackles. It would be Reef Leonard at center and Aaron Brown at a guard and and I'm not sure. They've been rotating so much. I'll find out today who will actually be the number 1 guy.
That's Coach Fogarty.
I have to ask Coach Fogarty, but Turner Walker and it's probably the first guy out, and then oh my God, who was the other guy going in? I just blanked on the name.
He's doing this all off the top of his head. There's no depth chart in front of Coach.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I sometimes I do that, but anyway, those are probably your first 5.
He was a headhunter at Georgia Southern. There's a lot of really hard hits. A couple of names, Coach, it feels like on there that will probably start rolling in once they're fully healthy and ready to roll. Yeah,
there's a number of guys that are going to rotate in there. Max Heimer being one. Of course, we have Carlton Hall is back. Now we're very, very cautious with him because he just got released last week fully. Yeah. So we're not throwing him out and saying, "Hey, here, go take 30 snaps in a row." Right. We're going to cautiously walk him through this and see what he is doing. Caleb Ruiz is a guy that's going to come in and get a lot of snaps. Who else? On Gary's going to come in and get snaps. I'm sure I'm missing other guys, but there's 5 guys behind the first 5 that are really getting opportunities.
Yeah, I'm telling you, put like 78 on John Britton just in case you need him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Slide in there at guard too. Last question offensively for you, Coach, is quarterback position. We know Stephen Cannon and the talent that he has, but when it comes to play calling for A.J. DePhillips, I know he's going to want to use the quarterback run game. It's not going to be every play. It might not be every game, but there's going to be calls where Stephen Cannon totes the rock. What kind of confidence does it give you that Omari Burse, you've seen him come in and win huge region games and play to the level that which you guys require?
Yeah, it's a great confidence builder for sure. The understanding that you have that guy now, Coach DePhillips is saying, "Hey, we can't lose him because I'm planning on using him on defense and special teams as well." So you just can't have him sitting over there. But it is a great confidence builder. And I had a major college call today asking about my quarterback. I said, "Well, he committed to Texas Tech." He said, "No, I'm not talking about Cannon. I'm talking about Burst." So I mean, how cool is that?
Dude's an athlete. I mean, kind of feels like in the same mold as like a Justin Thomas, where it's just kind of a gamer.
He is, and he's got that mindset that is just different. He's a winner.
Yeah,
we can see that his freshman year in baseball. I remember he's going to go out there and do things differently. Smart, will do what he's been taught to do, and he's going to do whatever it takes for the team to win.
Again, just some insurance right there. We're going to take a quick break, say thank you to some sponsors. When we come back, we'll look at the goals and objectives and the format for the Camden Scrimmage coming up at Chris Gilman Stadium this Friday night down there in Kingsland. Hope you guys can make the trip down there. If you can't, Kevin Thomas and myself will be on the audio call of that game, so you'll be able to stick up or to catch up with all your cadets and be a part of the action there coming up on Friday at 7:30. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Cool Vibes Pizza and Wings is one of Savannah's most popular. Could be the New York style pizza, or the pasta, or sandwiches, or wings. Whatever you choose, Cool Vibes has their own unique style. Check them out at 4501 Montgomery Street, Savannah.
I'm Kenny Granger from Cash and Carry. We're a family-owned business right here in Savannah. We have sections of vehicles that really make it all simple. You'll get a printout of where the vehicle's at, the color of the vehicle. We really want them to be able to go in the yard and find out right where they need to be. The average savings would be at least 70, 80, could be even 90% compared to original manufactured parts. So you can come to a place like Cash and Carry and find the parts that you need at an extremely reasonable price. We'd love for you to come check us out.
Welcome to Sandnat Golf Carts, where luxury meets quality. We offer a wide selection of top-notch custom golf carts to suit your every need. With our extensive inventory, you're sure to find the ride of your dreams. Plus, our flexible financing options make it easier than ever to drive one off the lot today. Whether you're cruising the neighborhood or joyriding with the family, Sandnat Golf Carts is here to provide exceptional service every step of the way. Visit us today to elevate your ride.
Plan your hunting getaway and escape to experience the beauty of Mossy Pond. Our diverse property right here in Pierce County allows you to enjoy various types of hunts, including plantation-style quail, hog, pheasant, and flooded timber-style duck hunts, all within 24 hours. At the center of it all, experience scenic, rustic, beautiful, and inviting amenities like luxury lodging, our first-class pro shop, fine dining, and the perfect event space. Book now and see why Mossy Pond Lodge is Georgia's premier hunting paradise.
Criminal defense, family law, DUI, and divorce. You need representation. The one to call is Savannah's own Jonathan V. Dunn, PC, attorney at law. Voted a Thomson Reuters super lawyer consecutively since 2023. Online at JV. BC Brothers Moving is Savannah's most trusted moving service. From residential to commercial to packing supplies, BC Brothers does it all. Let BC Brothers' energetic, trustworthy team wrap it, pack it, and move it for you. Check out BC Brothers online at bcbrothersmoving.com or give them a like on Facebook.
Welcome back in to the Danny Britt Show live here at BowTie Barbecue. Beautiful day. I mean, under 80 degrees right now.
Hey,
baby.
I love it. This
We're
is
not
beautiful.
Sweating.
I am tired of the sun. This could be every day for me. I'm happy.
It should be about this tomorrow night. Hopefully the rain and weather holds off down there in Kingsland. And Coach, the second leg of a home-and-home scrimmage series you guys scheduled with Camden County. And we talk about all the time, you guys don't schedule easy games, it seems like. And
right.
Playing another very high-quality opponent. I think you guys both made it to the same round of the playoffs last year. They end up falling to North Cobb, a very talented football program. But
right.
A chance for your guys to hit somebody in a different color jersey and to see yourself against some size and a lot of speed.
No doubt. I mean, obviously everybody knows what Camden is and what a great program it is. And this year's no different. They're going to be very good. They're going to be big. They're going to be fast, well coached, well trained. which is what we want, and we're going to go see what we can do. Again, the focus is this week is not, quote, going out and winning, the game. It's going out and continuing to get better, and then also be able to get film, see what we have, what we need to work on, who we may need to replace, all the things.
And I know there's a lot of things you're going through the first time. And I think one of the biggest things, especially with a road trip to Colquitt to start the season, is you get a chance to just put your machine to work where it comes to putting kids on a bus, getting equipment down there, making sure everything's set up, the huddle system's working. It's just a dry run for you guys in that as well. So when you get to Colquitt, that's already been done, and any potential problems that come up, you can go ahead and nip in the bud. Yeah,
I'm very glad, that we the next week we have to go to Colquitt, and so we're going to get that dry run. We're going to work out any kinks, here on a little bit shorter trip and in a scrimmage. So it's good. And, no matter how many times you've done it, it still always seems to be a little bit new and there's a different problem. So excited to, get that done and, kind of get it out of the way.
A headset goes down, someone forgets a jersey. It's just better to do that in a scrimmage than when you're in Moultrie.
Without a doubt.
Looking at the scrimmage, Coach, just give us a little bit about what the format's going to look like and what fans can expect to see or listen to coming up on Friday.
Yeah, we're going to do exactly like we did last year. We're going to go out. The starters are going to play the first 2 quarters. We'll be live special teams. Everything's normal. Everything's full speed go normal except for the quarterbacks. So the quarterbacks will be tapped, and so that you get to them, they tap them on the behind and they're dead. So, we're not going to have any designed run calls for them. Now, both sides are going to teach them, hey, if you're scrambling, you go get what you can and, get out of bounds or get down, whatever. But, that's how we're going to do it. The third quarter, both teams will get a drive. In other words, if we're getting the ball, we get the ball and drive until we score or punt. And then they'll get the ball, their first team, and drive and same thing. And then the starter, whatever we're at in that point, the starters will come off, the twos will come on, and then finish out the game that way.
Again, we just speaking about like what you guys are doing as a team now, as a team on the field, just so it's not your first time going out playing, sitting down in the locker room, and coming back out to start the second half.
Right, and I think that was his idea to do that. I think it was a great idea because that is an issue. Is you go and you to me, a lot of times the hardest quarter is the second quarter.
Right.
And if you remember playing, it would be the hardest one because you go out, you're excited, all of that. You get through the first quarter, and the second quarter is when you're really having to push through, and then you've kind of fallen into a routine by the time you get to the third and fourth quarter. But coming out, you're cold, you have to warm up and come back out is something you have to get used to.
Again, get hit first in the first quarter, like you said, that's the easy part. But especially during these months when it's really hot, that second quarter is a tough one because once the sun goes down a little bit, not too bad. But second quarter can be tough. After you pull those guys, a chance maybe for some guys who aren't maybe slotted for a ton of action right now, could be playing some JV games, but a bunch of guys to get some action and get some experience live fire.
Right. It's going to be, the twos. Now we play people on both sides of the ball, so it will not be a two, like I said earlier, there's a starter on the other side.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to come off. But it will be the other guys. So, get some great reps from some of those guys will be JV players. Some of them won't. So you'll see, you'll see those guys out there getting reps, and which is great. It's great to get them on film. And who knows, some of those twos may be ones, the start of the next game. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
And again, Coach, I know you got to be excited to get down there, start the 15th season as a head coach for BC. Did want to talk about it quickly. I know you're not a guy for accolades unless it's a state championship trophy at the end of the season, but it's got to be pretty cool as a guy who grew up loving Georgia high school football to see an article come out where you from the AJC where you're named the 4th best coaching hire in Georgia high school football history.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit silly, to be honest with you. I'm like, how did we come up with that? But I appreciate it, and it is nice, and I know it. It meant a lot to my mom posted it, and my wife, and my daughters, and that makes me very proud, and I am very proud of that, and happy for it, and excited. But we'll enjoy all of that whenever I'm done, whenever that is. When I can retire, which
Another 15 years from now.
Well, it may be the way money's going right now. It may be. I may just die one day.
Just on the field.
So it's just over, just kill over on the field. But no, when we finish up, I'll enjoy all that. But right now, it takes a little bit takes away from the focus, and we don't like that. So we're going to keep focusing on Camden County tomorrow night.
I was going to say, one cool thing about it is playing Camden to start the season. The number one hire, they said, was Jeff Herron down there, who just won multitudes of state championships. I think the only coach in high school football history in Georgia to win a state championship at 3 different high schools. So just unbelievable coach there. But some of the other names up there, if you're a fan of high school football, you know those names. And I'm sure there's some guys on there that have meant a lot to you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a very neat group of people, and Coach Herron, it was awesome, and of course won it in South Carolina too, right? So he's won a lot of them, and Coach Guess is a really awesome guy who's had a lot of success at a couple places. So know a lot of these guys, and they're just really, really neat people.
And if you had to, I know that's just out of left field on you, but I was thinking about it on the way up, thinking about that article is, if you had to describe Georgia high school football differently from other states, what would be some of the factors that you kind of describe? Because Texas has great high school football, Florida, California. It just seems like Georgia a little bit different. I
think what the difference in Georgia, and this is not coming from necessarily me, this is coming from all the coaches, college coaches that recruit. I mean, Texas is Texas, and it's bigger. The stadiums are 50,000 seats and stuff like that, which Georgia isn't necessarily that. But the way they explain it is the level of football being played in Georgia across the entire group and across every division is the best in the country. Not saying that, I mean, you get, Texas, you get to the biggest, the most advanced, then they're playing in front of, 25, 30,000 people, and it's just different. I think that's also because Texas is so spread out. They can't get to a college game, so they get that becomes their, their entertainment. But here, I think, each school, having strength coaches, having weight rooms, having legitimate programs, not, I remember when I first got to BC and Dr. Antosca, I said, you have to develop a football program. And she said, I don't understand what you're saying. And she admittedly was not an athletic person. I said, a program is something you enter into as a freshman and you never leave. Right. It is something that you're doing year round. Is something, and then even when you graduate, you're still a part of that program. You come back to it, you give back to it. A team is something that whenever the state or organization says you can start, you start, and then it's over at the end of the year, and you pick it back up that same time next year. Two very, very different things. So I think across the board, Georgia has more of that, and really good coaches and a lot of really good football players.
And we'll get a full taste of that this year. I think we're kind of a historic schedule this season, seeing all those great programs. And Coach, I said it felt like yesterday that we were doing a wrap-up show after Blessed Trinity, and now we're here, seasons just like that, and a message from our friends over at A-Linos and more.
Yes, the start of football season always feels so far away, then suddenly it's kickoff. Retirement's the same way. 1 minute it's a distant goal, the next it's right in front of you. Make sure you're ready when the time comes. Contact Abel's Iron Moore and Associates today.
Coach, before I let you get out of here, and I think I already know the answer to this, but what's the biggest goal tomorrow night in that scrimmage?
The biggest goal is to go out and play like we've practiced, and that's fast, that's physical, and that's with an understanding of what we're trying to do. And I think the kids have done a very good job of that, of realizing that it's not about this moment, that we're constantly building toward a future moment.
And get out healthy.
And, oh, my God, and get out healthy. I pray about that every night. I ask everybody else to do too. And if you're a priest listening, pray 3 times, please.
And if you're a player watching, better already have some electrolytes in your system.
Yes, please.
Again, big one coming up tomorrow night at 7:30. Kevin Thomas and myself will be on the pregame starting at 7, and you'll have a radio call here as well on Watch BC Sports for that one. It's big-time football. I know it's just a scrimmage, but there's some guys who we're going to be watching out there that are going to be playing on Saturday, so make sure you tune in, and then next week we'll be on the road to kick off the season against Colquitt County. Coach, it's here, man. We're excited about it. Let's get after it.
Let's go. Go Cadets.
when it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way. Let Vernon Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the Shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.